welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Nina, and today we are doing a garage clean out. Now, our garage has been like a small space of just a walkway path, and I have just been so tired of it looking like this. So today, stick around with us as we clean everything out. We're going to get rid of things that we are not using, because why are we holding on to this? It's taking up space we don't need. So stick around and enjoy the video.
Now, as you can see, we have just been storing any and everything here in the garage. And this garage has not had a proper clean out, I want to say, in 4 years. So all the kids ride on toys, any arts and crafts stuff, home improvement stuff, our stockpiles, any and everything is here in the garage. And I have just been so over it and ready to clean it out, because again, there's only like a little small walkway path that you can just kind of get in and out, and it's just like, okay, now's the time. So of course I picked the hottest day in July to get this done, but I said, we finna knock this out, because this is a mess. This is a shame. And I know what y'all saying, girl, get it together. And we about to get it together. I'm ready to get rid of all the things that we don't need, that's taking up space, and give everything a proper home. Now, can y'all see this little small walkway area? Yeah, that was it. That was our walkway. It's almost giving hoarders, and I can't let that happen. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pull everything out the garage, starting with all the boys' ride-on toys. Now, we recently purchased a shed and did a whole build in our backyard. So some of these items will eventually go there. We just got to figure out what to keep in our garage and what to put in the back of the shed. Now, you know that saying where it says you never know how much stuff you have until it's time to move? Well, that's the same when it comes to a garage, because when we was putting all this stuff out, I was finding stuff I have not seen in years. And I was like, y'all, we got to do better. At the top of the year, I told myself that we're going to get organized and declutter this house from top to bottom. And we are 7 months into the year, and I have been sticking to that goal. Now, y'all know we have been doing a lot of DIY projects, and so we had just took all of the excess items or leftover stuff and just threw it in the garage. And I'm a firm believer of not throwing away leftover product from DIY projects, because you never know, you may have to go in and do some touch-ups on something, or may want to reference that color again. And once you do a project and you throw that stuff away and someone say, hey, what color is that? Where you get that from? You're not going to know 2 years from now. So I always try to keep any leftover product I use just to have, just for emergency. Now, y'all know I am a firm believer in all hands on deck in this household, and so the boys are here to help, and plus a lot of these items in this garage belong to them. Now, once we had got this little area clear, I started feeling a little bit better. It wasn't so overwhelming, but I also was like, oh my God, look how much we still have to go. And every Friday night is game night in our house. So we have so many of our games here, even our, homemade games we made. I'm talking about, y'all, we put everything in this garage. This was like a catch-all area, stockpile, the dog area, plant pots, you name it. Cleaning this space out here is where I was getting mad at myself. And number one thing I hate the most is wasting money. And I would find that I had like numerous of the same product open. And that was because, I'm in here trying to find something, couldn't find it, put it on the list to go pick it up. And then later on, I come across, I have 2 or 3. So there's 2 or 3 bug sprays, weed spray, like stuff for the yard. And it was like, oh my goodness. And they're both open. So I was really, kind of beating myself up about that, because I hate to be wasteful. This was also my plant pot area. And earlier this year, when I did like a lot of my repotting, I also kind of got rid of a lot of my house plants. I condensed them down, gave a lot to my mom. And I'm like, hey, I don't need this. It's too much for me. And you peep our little arts and craft corner. So, anytime the boys would, paint, we would set their easel up outside for them to do paintings. Or when we used to attend like the Home Depot Saturdays, the items that they make, we would store it here in this bin. And it just has kind of gotten away from it being tidy and seeing what we have and to putting everything away. That's what we have been struggling with, just throwing it in the garage instead of putting it in its respective place. So we're going to do better. We are going to do better this year. We found old science projects. They was laughing at Dad's old shoes because Dad used to cut the grass a long time ago when he had so much time, but now we pay for someone to do it. So they was laughing at his shoes. And y'all, guess what I just found? I had some Christmas decor from last Christmas that I was supposed to return. And I had it in the car at some point. I don't know how I got out the car and how I ended up in this garage. Ain't no telling what I was transporting one day and was like, oh, let me just take it out real quick and I'll put it back in. And of course, that never happened. But I found a whole bunch of Christmas stuff that I was supposed to return, and Daddy was not happy about that. But we making progress in here. Look, check us out. We making progress. I have a Reef Forever holiday, and it's supposed to be in this bin here. We're going to make sure it gets back inside that bin. But we looking good. We're doing really, really good. Now, you guys may be wondering what's all this white stuff on the floor. And you might be thinking, oh, is that dust? No, it is not dust. We have a husky, so that is him shedding. He needs to be de-shedded. And, of course, I'm kind of behind on that as well. Normally, I take him to the groomers. But I was trying to save a couple dollars this year and was like, no, I'm going to do it. Yeah, he's going to go to the groomers. So we started sweeping, and then my son was like, no, let me just blow it. And Daddy was like, no, it's going to get hair everywhere. So Dad and Harley are, trying to sweep as much of it up because he's a husky and they have 2 coats. And they shed really, really bad. So now that it's swept, Hunter was like, let me get in here with this leaf blower. And y'all, let me tell y'all, this leaf blower was the best thing I could have bought because these boys would get out there. They don't probably want to sweep, but they'll get out there and use their blower. Half the garage is cleaned out. I can breathe again. We just got the shelving to go. Now that everything is out, we decided to go ahead and group items in piles so we'll know what we have and see what we can actually get rid of. There was a seasonal pile, we had DIY project pile, lawn care, all of the kids' items, my plant pots, dog care, our craft corner, and a miscellaneous spot. It was also very important to go ahead and establish an area that we're going to set up for trash, and as of right now, that is it. Now, I do want y'all to understand that it was 230 degrees outside, so I had to go ahead and plug this fan up. My back was sweating like it has never sweat before. It was so many spider webs in here. I was like, let me just try to get as much of this down as possible. And then as I was cleaning them off, my brain just started going. Y'all, I want to paint the garage. I want to figure it out. And I'm sitting there telling my husband all things I want to do. And he was just like, yeah, not today. Let's just get this clean. But y'all, I got so many ideas. If you've redone your garage before or you have some ideas that maybe I should consider, drop them in the comment section and let me know. Now we're going to stage this side of the wall. And I guess the boys are pulling out their interior design skills that they claim to have, trying to figure out where they want things to go and what was feasible for them. When we first purchased this bin, the intentions was to be able to keep all of the reefs throughout the seasons in there. And I had just been lazy of not putting it back in there, just sitting it on top of stuff. But this is changing. This is new behavior. We're going to make sure we put everything back in its respective place. So this area is all of my outdoor decor for each season, along with our crafting corner. And just make sure that everything that we had outside that we plan to keep went back in this said area. I truly feel that cleaning out your garage or storage area should be done once a year, because it's just like moving. You never know how much stuff you have until it's time to move or go through it. Like, we have been holding on so much stuff because this has not been cleaned out in at least 4 years. And I'm like, why do we have all this stuff? Y'all, and one thing I cannot stand is bugs. And when we pulled all this additional plant stuff that was supposed to be pulled out and cleaned, y'all, it was spiders galore in there. Now, I did forget to mention that we did spray bug spray all along the walls in the cracks and crevices. So, moving forward, this should help prevent some of the spider webs. We have put in a lot of work today, and I'm so thankful that the boys, was here to give a helping hand. Hunter was so over and tired. He was like, I got to go in and rest. And we did take breaks because it was 300 degrees here in Georgia. Okay, now that we got this side completed, we want to go ahead and move to the opposite side of the garage and to clean these shelves off. Y'all, now let me tell y'all this little story behind these garage shelves. So when we had first moved in, I was like, yes, I want to get like a nice garage shelving unit system, all the nines. Go to Home Depot, saw the said pricing of how much those metal shelving units cost. And I was like, who got time for that? Y'all, that stuff was like so expensive. Again, this was like 9 years ago. I can't even imagine what the price is now. So I ended up going to like this store with a friend. We was trying to get like some stuff for our aquarium. And he had just been ranting and raving about this store forever. He was like, well, let's go over there, one day we get out work. I'm like, all right, cool. So I met him over there at the store. Tell me why y'all the store was going out of business. They barely had stuff in there. And I was like, y'all, I'm like, let me get these racks. And they were like, no, that ain't for sale. I was like, y'all going out of business. Y'all don't need it. Sell this racking. Now, one thing about me, I can always talk my way into anything. And I was like, come on, y'all. So them people end up selling this shelf to me for $10. So I got 2, so I paid $20. I always keep an SUV because of all these children I have. And I folded all my seats down, broke that racking system down, put it in my car, and drove it right on home. So when I got home, my husband was like, I know you did not take all that money and buy this racking system after I told you not to. I was like, I did not do that. I was like, you would never guess how much I got this for. When I told that man I spent $20 on this, he was like, girl, if you don't get on somewhere, y'all, he could not believe it. But listen, it's been thriving ever since. Worked just fine. Best $20 I ever spent. Now, this shelving system is a lot of stuff that I had just been holding on to, didn't really want to get rid of, and my stockpile. Now, here's the issue that we've been having. It was so junky in there, y'all. Remember what it looked like? That I could not get to my overflow pile, my stockpile, to see what I do or don't have. So I was always buying additional stuff that I really didn't need. And one thing about me, I always know somebody who knows somebody who can get some stuff, who always give me stuff. So my overflow pile is always full, and I need to be able to organize it to see what I have so I know what to put on my grocery haul list to get for another time. And one of my toxic traits is just hanging on to stuff because it's like you never know when you need it. You never know when you need it. And so many people have always made fun of me because it was like, why you got all that soap? Why you got all this? You always got X, Y, and Z, a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, baby, let me tell you something when it came in handy. 2020, when that world shut down and couldn't nobody find Lysol, couldn't nobody find hand sanitizer, couldn't nobody get tissue. Listen, we was over here thriving. I didn't even have to go to the store for any of those said items. People were calling me like, man, you got some soap. You got this, you got that. Yeah, I do, but do y'all? So I'm sitting here going through this stuff, y'all. I am really getting rid of things that I had been just holding on to for like years, even before we moved into this house. So where it was like, okay, I can really let this go because I have not touched these said items in years. So I went ahead and cleaned those bins out, got rid of stuff, added to the trash pile, and repurposed those bins to house the new items that I do want to keep. Now this space here is what we frequent the most because this is where all of the stockpile items are. So our air fresheners, soap, dish detergent, bleach, plates, you name it, tissue, Kleenexes, all of that's overstock is here. And I just thought it was important to just really separate it to see what I do have, what I don't have, and just get it organized. So we use this quite often, so we really kind of get straightened up the most. Man, to have that big wheelbarrow gone in front of it, y'all, I used to come out here, I had to lean all over it, hold on to the shelf to make sure I'm not going to fall over anything. Y'all, it's going to be so easier to get to it now. Like, oh my God, I'm just so happy. And you know what's one helpful tip that we did with this garage clean out? When it came to items that either one of us thought that we wanted to get rid of, we had to come up with the last time we used it and the next time when we're going to use it. So for instance, this hot plate, I was like, yeah, remember we were sitting outside and, you know, we wanted to cook outside and I was able to plug it up, and he was like, all right, fair enough, we can keep it. So, you know, just things like that helped us get rid of a lot of items that we were holding on to. So if you guys are doing a clean out or garage clean out, you should definitely try that method. And also, like, during this whole clean out, y'all, we had encouraged our neighbors. So like the very next day, my next door neighbor was cleaning out her garage, and she was like, y'all had me so inspired yesterday. I was like, let me get out here and do mine as well. So it was good, you know, giving someone else that motivation who had just been coming to their garage, walking past it, also knowing they needed to clean it out, and was able to tackle that. So I felt really good. I motivated someone. Now, back to school is going to be here before you know it. So doing this clean out was very, very important because we got to get that back to school list going. You know, all the teachers going to need the soap, the Kleenexes, the gallon size freezer bags, all that stuff. And I like to see what I already have, get that stuff while it's on sale, and send it to the school. I think the hardest part of this clean out was figuring out where we were going to put the items that we decided to keep, like how to organize it. So what we decided on is to keep all of the car detailing stuff inside the garage. On that bottom row, there is a lot of our DIY projects. Every type of paint we've ever used is here. And because we will be doing some new painting of the trim, we was like, let's just keep this close because we will frequent these items more often. And of course, my stockpile will still be in here. But all them toys, I said, nope, brother, get that out of here. It got to go. I don't want to see a toy in this garage. Now we're going to play the home version of Tetris and put everything back. Now, there were some items that I just was not ready to part ways with. And I know I don't need them, but I just couldn't get rid of them. And that was like my baby's high chair, my baby swing, and especially the swing. Like the swing was something that I had with my first son, who is now 11, and I passed it down to each one of my kids, so all boys was able to, be in that swing. So it was just kind of like sentimental to me, where it was like I'm just not ready to get rid of it, even though I know I'm not going to use it because we are done, expanding our family. But I just wasn't ready to get rid of it. So of course, we keep a lot of our original boxing, so we just put it back on the shelf. And my husband have 2 telescopes, y'all. Listen, I bought him one year. We could not find it at some point. I think I probably forgot all about it. And then I turned around and got him one like 5 years later and asked me, do he use either one of them telescopes? No. And did he ask for those telescopes? Yes. But I have my things I don't want to get rid of, and so do he. So I just have to compromise. So we're keeping it all. Now this is our trash pile. There was some things that was expired, and I was getting rid of a lot of plant pots I didn't need, old stuff, y'all, that just had been sitting for years, basically trash, and it was time to get rid of it. Now we are looking pretty good, because here are the piles that we have left of items that we probably just need to take a second look at or make sure we get in this home. Now the boys had been filling up this wagon, y'all. Listen, when I tell y'all this wagon come in handy, I done told y'all every video, you better get you one. So the boys were loading up the wagon and taking everything around back that we was gonna put in the shed. Now, I had caught myself going through the plant pots the first time, getting rid of stuff. And then when I looked over and was like, I still got all this left, I was like, yeah, it's time to see what I can condense down. So I, gave my mom a lot of stuff, but other stuff kind of went to the dump because it was like, I'm not needing it. I condensed my plants down. It's time to get rid of this stuff. Let's get it out of here. I'm not going to keep holding on to it. Now, the fun part of this was called Match the Plant Pot with the saucer. And one thing I do pride myself on is I always keep my items together. It may look a little unorganized, but I know where everything is. So I was kind of, getting everything together to ask my mom, like, hey, do you want these? And she took a lot of stuff off my hand. Now, we had started bagging up some of the trash, breaking down the cardboard boxes, but I had to, bring out my trusty contractor bags and get this stuff filled up because it has to get off my grass. I do not want it out here. My sole purpose was to get this garage clean and all trash removed off the premises in the same day. Now, because our local trash service does not pick up bags on the side of the road, and all of this stuff was not going to fit in our already full garbage can, my husband put it all in contractor bags and loaded our SUV up and drove it to the local dump. And I think the dump charged like a small fee or whatever to get rid of all the items that was really trash. Most everything we threw away was cracked and broke and could not be used anything. So we took, and at the dump there's also a recycling place, so he kind of separated and recycled some stuff, but everything else was basically trash. Okay, so here's the final trash look. Now let me remind you how it looked before. Remember, it was everything packed in here, barely space to do anything. I barely have space to walk and record this. Like, no spot was left for anything. And this is the after. There's so much space. Everything has a home. We can get to it. But again, remember, this was just a clean out. I do want to change the entire space. So drop some ideas in the comment section below for me. See you next video. Bye.